January is not going to really change your life. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear this, but it's true. Now, let me explain. A couple of years ago, I would tell myself, like, hey, coming in January, things are going to be different. I'm going to go into January, I'm going to be super motivated. I'll write down my goals, and we'll go into the year and we'll make it happen. And for the first few weeks, I was cooking. But by Valentine's Day, I was back to the same old me, same old habits, and pretty much back to my comfort zone. Now, what I realized, which I just said, is that January won't change your life. But in this video, I'm going to break down the 3 things that you need to do that will actually change your life and hopefully make 2026 that breakout year for you. Because what's really going to make 2026 an amazing year for you is not what you do in January, but in fact, what you do before January, right? Because if you actually start the preparation and the work before 2026, you're going to be able to walk into 2026 with the momentum and actually crush it, right? And I want you guys to actually stay till the end, because at the end, I'm going to share the third thing, which I really believe will help you become more consistent and enable you to actually achieve your goals. Now, every single year, the calendar flips and January rolls around. And all of a sudden, everybody feels motivated with our new year resolutions, with our goals, new routines, new promises, the whole 5 yards, right? But like I said, January doesn't create change. It actually reveals your preparation or lack of thereof, right? If nothing shifts before January, nothing will magically change in January or after that, right? So most people don't fail because they're lazy. Most people fail at achieving their goals because they're trying to build discipline on top of chaos. And if you rely on motivation alone, motivation fades. And especially if your identity stays the same and you don't have system in place to enable you to maintain that level of motivation. A big mistake that I see a lot of people make is that they wait until January to actually start taking action. Well, you should actually start before. Like, December is the perfect month for positioning. Like, what are you doing in December? Like, this is when the real progress is made, right? You plan, you prepare, you create the systems that will enable you to break through in your year. December is when you put those small actions into motion that will then over time compound into this big goal. So the first thing you need to do before January is you need to decide who you're going to become in the next year. So in this case, in 2026. And instead of you asking yourself or maybe answering the question like, what are my goals going to be? The better question you need to be asking is, who do I need to become in order for my life to look different, but more importantly, for me to be the person that can actually achieve this goal? Because behavior follows identity, right? So I'll give you an example. A couple of years ago, I would always set a goal to run a marathon. Every single year would roll around, I write on my goal sheet that I want to run a marathon. Now, the danger in that was that I would just set the outcome, right, the goal. But I didn't work on my identity. I didn't identify myself as a runner. So one year I decided to change and said, let me start with the identity first. I am a runner, right? And the next question I then asked myself is like, what do runners do? Well, runners run. So what I then decided to do was I set myself a very small and achievable goal, which was to run every single day, even for 5 minutes. So I didn't have to go outside and run for an hour or 45 minutes. No. Every single day for that particular year, my goal was to be a runner because that was my new identity, right? And that's how I started. I started by just running 5 minutes every single day in the month of January. And then each month, I would increase that time by 5 minutes. So in February, I was running 10 minutes every single day, nonstop. In March, 15 minutes every single day. April, 20 minutes every single day. And you get the point. By December that year, I had run multiple 5K and 10K races because I had now, really embraced the identity of being a runner. So the first thing you need to do if you want to make 2026 the best year is before 2026, right? In December 2025, really set out your identity. What is the new identity that you want to have in 2026? Because like I said, behavior follows identity. So that is the first thing you need to do. Now, the second thing that you need to do is you want to make sure that before you actually start forming the new habits, you want to identify the bad habits that you have and eliminate those bad habits so that you can really start on a clean plate with your new habits. The mistake that a lot of people make is that, let's say you want to work out, and one of the bad habits you have is you don't eat right, and you continue not eating right, and then you're working out, you might not actually see the weight change, right? You could be going to the gym and working out, but you never drop the weight. So if you really sit down and you do an audit of what are some of the bad habits that I need to eliminate, right? And eliminate those first in order for you to then make room for the new habits to come in and flourish. You're now able to actually bring in those new habits after you've eliminated the bad habits and give your new habits a really good chance of flourishing because you've removed the friction, you've taken away the clutter, right? So that's the second thing that you really need to do is you need to do an audit of what are some of the bad habits that you don't want to see manifest in January, in the next year, in 2026 in this case. Because if you can eliminate those habits first and those routines and the things that don't really serve you, you can now really have a good starting point to then put in these new habits. And then the third and final thing is you want to lock in on one very simple action that you can take weekly and just repeat it over time. A lot of the time, we like to write these 12-month long strategies. Hey, this is what I'm going to do in week 1 and in week 52. But that's not the case. What you really want to do is just really pick one thing for every area of your life, finance, your relationships, and so forth and so forth, right? And then just pick one thing that you could do every single week consistently that will bring you a really good return. In the earlier example that I shared about running, right? It was for my health. The area of life was health. I just picked one thing that I did consistently, which was running, right? I would run every single day for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and so forth and so forth. Because I understood that small actions done early and repeatedly beat big actions done late. So if you make that decision in December and you compound that action over time into a better habit, guess what? Better habits compound into better results. I went from running 5 minutes to being able to run an hour by the end of the year nonstop. Better results compound into confidence. I became more confident as a runner and as an athlete. And if you do it starting in January, by March, people will be asking you, why are you so disciplined? Well, the simple answer is you actually put in the work in identifying what you needed to do when the year started, but you identified the small action that you were going to take consistently in order for you to actually actualize the result that you wanted to see. And remember, January or 2026 does not reward motivation. It rewards preparation. It rewards you having a system, but it also rewards your ability to actually take consistent action on that system. Because if you start becoming the person you said you're going to become quietly, consistently before January, and then when January rolls around, you're already in motion, you'll be able to make 2026 the best year of your life. Now, if this video has helped you, definitely hit the subscribe button. It will help you get notified when I drop more content. I want to have more conversations around discipline and personal development and money. I took a break today on talking about trading so that we could really talk about 2026. And in the comments below, I would really love it if you can just do one thing, which is what's that one thing that you plan on doing in 2026 that is going to fully transform your life? If it's eating better or running or saving money, whatever it is, just let me know in the comments. And the reason why I'm asking is I want it to be your action that you're taking to commit to that particular outcome. But also, I want to be your accountability partner. And if you leave your comment throughout the year, I'll check in with you just to keep you accountable and make sure that you're on track to achieving your goal. So let's make 2026 an amazing year. But the only way you're going to make 2026 an amazing year is by actually starting to become that person in the last few weeks of 2025, so that you don't have to rely on motivation, but instead you can go into 2026 with momentum and you can fully actualize your goal. See you guys at the top.